Hello, folks. Hope you're well. If you are loving the podcast, long-term fan, you've maybe been listening to a few episodes and like it, please make sure that you're subscribing to my Sunday Thoughts email newsletter that I send every Sunday. I give some perspective on self-improvement, and it's just some nice thoughts on a calming day. Also, if you're loving the podcast, I do a paid subscription of 99p a month where you get an extra episode on a Friday, which is a little bit more personal, and obviously a bonus episode, and any exclusive first access to any projects that I'm working on as well. So, if you want to do that, go for it. Otherwise, enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope you are all well, and today, before we get started, I would like to take some time to recognize, acknowledge, and recommend another wonderful podcast. I, in recent months, have chatted back and forth with the wonderful Michelle, who hosts a podcast with her sister, Sammy, called Building a Wealthy Spirit. Now, I don't usually do recommendations or anything like that on this podcast, but having chatted back and forth with Michelle, having listened to their podcast as well, if you enjoy my podcast, you are going to love their podcast as well. They're all about living a fulfilling life. They share their own experiences, their own anecdotes around living well and living fully. And if you're looking for these perspectives on life that you can learn from or be inspired by, make sure to check it out in the show notes. Building a Wealthy Spirit. Now, to continue the feel-good element of this episode so far, I want to share the topic today with you of and around the optimized day. I've done episodes in the past talking about the perfect day or your ideal day. And this is almost an evolution of those thoughts as well. Currently, let's set the scene. We are surrounded by living a life that is perfect. We must follow the rules of making sure that we're doing everything to a T, to a point that means that we live every day, every moment perfectly. Let's look at an example. On one end of the scale, we must get up at 6 a.m. We must be early risers to attack the day and make sure that we are up before anybody else is, to make sure we're making the most of all of the time that we have. We must do exercise in the morning. We must get sunlight. We must get all of these extreme things done first thing in the morning to make sure that we are the best we possibly can be. Now, on top of there maybe being a bit of satire behind what I'm saying here, this pressure, this unspoken expectation that is created through advice from people that are selling this type of day and lifestyle, it leads to self-shame. It leads to leading a slightly false life. Every single person in the world is unique. They are different. This one-size-fits-all approach is not healthy to recommend. It's not healthy for everybody to be pushing themselves towards, there are going to be a section of people that this really helps. It provides structure. It provides motivation. It might kickstart a health regime that individual needs. But if you're quite happy with yourself, if you have quite a fulfilling and meaningful life, these routines, these extremities are not going to make you happier. This side of the coin, when it comes to optimizing our day, whether that's getting up really early, whether that's doing extreme workouts, whether that's having a really strict diet, these are all elements and evidence of rules and discipline. When we feel lost in life, when we feel we are lacking purpose, when we feel we don't have much direction, this extreme side of the coin is like a wake-up call. And it's useful for a period of time. I understand the perspective around that. This extreme discipline is as a result of the other side of the coin, or the other end of the spectrum, where, let's say, you have a day off, or you have a week off, where you have no work, or you have no plans, and you let discipline completely go out the window, completely slide. You sleep in, you have no routine to your sleep cycle. This leads to you having not much energy. You're probably splurging on the pleasurable things in life, whether that's eating too much, drinking too much, not doing much exercise, being on social media too much, all these things. And it leads to this lack of purpose, lack of identity. It feels a bit like a trap, a cycle that you can't get out of, which leads to the extremes that I've talked about in the earlier part of the episode. Now, I'm going to go in the middle today. I'm looking for this balance. And this is where the title of the episode comes from, the optimized day. We need to experience both sides of the coin. We need to try different things. Even Michelle, that I was talking about at the start of this episode today, has talked about her difficulties in getting up really early. I've had it myself. I've tried to do it, and it doesn't make me happy. I have had to do it for work, and that's where you knuckle down and just get on with it and suck it up. But again, it didn't make me happy. So this is why I'm looking at balance. Balance around how we structure our day. Now, some of these examples might sound like a combination of the two ends of the spectrum or sides of the coin that I've talked about already today. But there's things that we can take from both of them that allow us to live life well. It is great having a routine for when you go to bed and when you wake up. This is not a negotiable. Whether you are an early riser and you go to bed early as well, whether you go to bed late and you get up late, or whether you're a bit in between. Whatever works for you, that routine is what optimizes yourself. Diet. You have to experiment with diet that suits you. When you splurge too much on food that is not good for you, you need to eat more healthily. But you get to a stage where you optimize. You find the things that are supposed to be healthy that actually don't make you feel good. You find the things that you can use as a bit of a reward. You can find the time of day that nutrition can help you. I used to, years ago before COVID, I used to eat breakfast religiously. But now, through COVID, I don't eat breakfast until much later in the day. And again, that is something that I've developed, but I don't do because I feel like I have to convince people that I should fast until later. I do it because it makes me feel good. I do it because it helps my energy. I do it because it gives me a sense of achievement. But that's just for me. And this leads me on to the exercise side of things. We need to do exercise for feelings. We need to do exercise for accomplishment and achievement for ourselves. You need to do this over the element of, or for the factor of, impressing other people. Nobody cares how much you can lift. Nobody cares how fast you can run. What you need to do is create consistency around exercise that makes you feel good, that you could do until the day you die. That's all you need to do. I absolutely love that I can cycle to and from work. It doesn't take me too long, but it's also not short enough for me to not work hard. So I'm about 20 minutes each way. And it makes me feel good. It gives me a sense of achievement. It gets my body working, and I can do it consistently. I only do this because it makes me feel good. No other reason. So what is that thing for you that you can fit into your day or fit into your week? I'm such a big fan of, if you like running or doing things that the intensity of it is so high that you actually can't do it every day. If you can do it 3 times a week and you've got structure behind that, that is incredible as well. So this optimized day feeds into an unoptimized week as well. And then we need to think about work. We need to think about socializing. We need to think about relationships. We need to think about, actually, sometimes we need to break the mold of routine as well. We need to fit hobbies into our day as well. All of these things are factors around an optimized day. Sometimes doing the difficult thing during the day, whether that's through work and making a big decision or having a tough conversation, or whether that's seeing a friend that you've not seen for a wee while. Being able to add these little things into your day are almost a form of escapism. They're almost a form of flow that you don't have time to think about all of these strict habits that you need to do. Or actually feeling a lack of purpose, or feeling like you're trapped in some way. There's an in-between. So let's think about how you can optimize your day. If you were to rate your day out of 10 so far, when you look at what does a normal day look like for you? 1 being that you're really not happy with how your days are, to 10 being you feel like you live every day pretty well. Think about where you are on that scale and what you need to do to make the needle move. What do you need to do to move that 7 to an 8 or that 4 to a 5? And experiment. See what happens. It might take weeks. It might take months. I sit here 3 years into this podcast, but more so around lifestyle. And it takes months and years to move things without you even realizing. So you can dream, you can have a goal, but you're going to make mistakes along the way. Just make sure that when you are moving that needle towards the thing that you think you want, you reflect and you make sure that you know it's what you want. And that's us today. I hope you've enjoyed that episode. As I mentioned at the start, go and check out Michelle's podcast, Building a Wealthy Spirit. It is such a good listen. And if you ever have anything to ask or you would like to chat, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to chat about all things self-improvement, lifestyle, habits, simplicity. And otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that latest episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I can't believe it's been over 3 years and I still absolutely love creating these episodes for you. I'm wanting to share an offer with you before we finish up. I wrote an ebook when I was making this podcast during lockdown, all about becoming unstuck in life and trying to fit that into 30 days. Now, my offer for you today is I have this ebook that I'm reducing down to £5. £5 for you to indulge, create clarity, work on getting out of a rut if that is something that you need to do just now. So check it out in the show notes. If you fancy it, the link will be there. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Cheers.